Hi, my name is Parker, and this is my story. Throughout my life, since about the age of 18 or 19, I've been through 2 seasons of very heavy, dark depression, both stemming from very different circumstances, but yeah, heavy depression nonetheless. And then since then, pretty high level of anxiety over the last 2 years. I realized I needed help when I knew I didn't want to wake up in the morning. The first season of depression that I went through, it lasted 6-7 months, and I hated all the things that I used to love. I didn't want to be around people. I hated farming. I hated going to the lake. So it was pretty clear that there was help that I needed. And then with the anxiety that I've dealt with the last couple of years, it just got to the point where I couldn't keep myself distracted any longer from the things that were just bubbling up in my mind and what it felt like in my heart. And yeah, I just got to the point where I couldn't sleep at night, having panic attacks. Yeah, I just realized that if I was gonna carry on with life with any hope and joy, that I was gonna need someone to talk to and someone that knew how to help me through some of these things. The first time I remember feeling super depressed, I broke down in tears because I didn't know what was going on in my head. I immediately told my parents, I told my youth pastor, and so I always had them walking alongside me, and that was great. But then fast forward 3 years, and I went through another season of depression, and this time it was much worse. I was losing weight. I had to quit playing hockey. I almost dropped out of college. And again, I had so many people around me that I could share that with, and that was awesome. But it just I kept suppressing things, got to a point where I thought, I was good to go. I'd made it through all this stuff. And then the anxiety kicked in a couple of years after that. Yeah, it got to a point where I knew if I did not seek professional help, this was just going to be a consistent theme in my life, just up and down. Seasons where I felt fine, but then every time I hit a low, it was even lower than the one before. Something I definitely needed when I first experienced depression would have been someone that had been trained to deal with things like this, and seeking out a professional counselor. It was awesome having so much support around me, and I'm so grateful for that. But at the same time, having someone that maybe isn't directly in my life with me day to day, has a viewpoint that isn't skewed by stuff I'm complaining about at work or at home or whatever it is. I needed someone like that who could just break through all the junk maybe that was going in my mind, and just tell me, like, Parker, what's in your head isn't true. So yeah, beginning 2 months ago now, I finally made a decision to go see a counselor, and it was something looking back on when I was 18, 19, something I should have done then. I'm now 25, so it's taken me many years to finally take that step of courage. And it was from encouragement from my parents, mentors, friends, that they always were throwing out that idea of seeing a counselor, not pushing it on me, but I kept convincing myself that I could make it through this. I would figure out how to deal with it. Eventually I just had no hope in that anymore, and that was a terrifying feeling. I'd say since I started seeing a counselor, there's been a few significant changes in my life, and the first one being the hope I have of overcoming all this stuff that I've dealt with for years. I'd got into a headspace where I didn't really know how to function without some level of anxiety going on in my life. I just had accepted that was going to be normal, and yeah, since seeing a counselor, I've true hope that I'm going to overcome that, and that's really exciting to think about. And not that I know I'll go through things that'll maybe trigger things or whatnot, but I already feel so much more equipped to take some of that stuff on. I'm excited to see what other change happens. It's been so short already, but I'm excited for the journey that I get to go on, actually taking on some of the stuff that's been in my head for so long. Yeah, and that gives me hope.